Well, another in the solutions series of videos. Hasn't been great comment on the previous editions. And I was also thinking it might be helpful if I got a little bit of feedback on some of these ideas, and even if you just type no in the comments or yes in the comments, in the sense that you would or you wouldn't vote for what is being proposed. That would be helpful, just to where people stand. You don't have to explain. I mean, sometimes no is enough of an answer, or fuck you, or whatever. So anyway, this one's on the subject of the fact that we don't take advantage of elections. I've spoke on this before, but we have this great vehicle, sometimes twice a year, where you really can get an honest appraisal of what people think. I mean, it's a really good survey of public opinion, because it's obviously the public that gives enough of a damn to show up to vote. And beyond that, there's no real cheating. It's a pretty accountable system, in terms of accuracy. I mean, there's not a great opportunity for fraud, and so it's a good time to survey the public and find out what they think and what they want. And so I'm not for legislating through referendum. I mean, I'm not for sometimes it's appropriate, but I'm just saying, as a general principle, I don't think you put some simple little jargon on the ballot and have laws in the whole country changed or some other thing without any real forced discussion, and having a legislative body has to take care of some things. It's just a little too serious to go based on public whim, because some proposals could be stupid, like lower taxes or some other kind of silly thing. Like, everybody will vote for it, but who's going to do the actual deciding what gets cut and what doesn't get cut and all that stuff? So obviously some referendums just aren't going to be specific enough to be useful. But anyway, the general idea I am in support of. So the idea of non-binding referendums that let the lying politicians know what the people think, I think would be very positive, and would also put some pressure on them, to have to appreciate that, when they do vote, if they vote for something that the public is against, that at least is well known. And then, so yeah, I mean, obviously I put a lot of political questions on the ballot as referendums, but I mean, I would do it in a way that allowed for it to be wide open. So if you had $50, you could, sponsor a referendum or a proposal, and then it would be given a code number or whatever, an ID number, and registered, and then people on the ballot, they'd have 3 or 4 empty blanks there, or whatever, half dozen, and they could just fill in these numbers of these initiatives or referendums that they support, these concepts. To make this really, we can go a step further with this. I think there's, it has this, it has a lot of potential, because I've always been, I just don't think we take advantage of the fact that there's all these ideas out there in the ether, and nobody hears them. No one pays any attention to them, because they don't have any possibility of becoming a reality. But if they did, there might be more attention paid to that, and there could be, we should take advantage of it. It's that simple. So I mean, the government really should solicit ideas. We should solicit good ideas. We should give them some way of some realistic opportunity of becoming a reality. And that's what I would include in this referendum idea. And there's all kinds of little logistical problems. I mean, one you can think of is that the people will just rewrite each other's ideas. Let's say some guy comes up with an idea, and another guy decides, well, I had the same idea, so he's going to put his idea out there, and so then you'll have 5 or 10 of exactly pretty much the same idea. And unfortunately, those ideas will just split votes, because one guy's family is going to vote for his idea, another guy's friends are going to vote for his idea, and you really won't get a real sense of the value of the idea or concept because the votes get too fragmented. And so to fix that problem, I think it'd be, kind of, there's always a fix for problems, and that's the part that really irritates me about how people's attitudes out there. It's like, blow everything up. They don't like the government, blow it up. They don't like this, blow it up. No, everything can be fixed. It just takes a little bit, really. It just takes a little bit of thinking. You do a little thinking, you can find a fix for a problem. And if that fix doesn't work, you can fix the fix, and you can, it all just takes a little bit of work. You just engineer it a little, you work on it a little, you can fix it. And people just give up on things way too soon. It's like, if it doesn't go and fall into place right away, no, they don't want to touch it, don't go near it. And it's just stupid. I mean, you can keep an old car running forever if you're willing to just do a little bit of work. And then there's the other people, no, it makes a little bit of a noise, or, steering wheel wobbles a little, no, some little problem, no, can't open and close the window, no, throw it out, buy a new car. It's just the wrong attitude, in my opinion. But anyway, back to the point. So let's say if you submit an idea, everybody who submits one of these ideas or these referendums, they would say 2 weeks before, it would all be posted online. Let's say every referendum or every idea that's registered would be posted online. People can read them all. They'd be indexed, categorized, all that stuff. And the principle would be simple, is in that all of these ideas would have to basically within, say, 2 weeks of the election, or some reasonable number where people could, where it would be useful to know, they would have to basically assign another referendum in case their referendum fails. So if I'm submitting an idea to say, all the roads should be painted blue, and somebody else has that same idea, except they say every road should be painted green or something. It's a very similar idea, but not quite exactly the same. The reasonable expectation would be that I would assign my votes, so to speak, if my referendum gets less votes than these others, would end up going to, the same way the incident runoff election works. The votes would end up moving or migrating to another viable choice that's very similar. So each one of the ideas would have to declare honestly what its votes were going to go to. And so then when people chose what ideas they were going to vote for, obviously they'd say, well, if that idea isn't even going to vote for another idea in its own category, hell with that, because if you like the idea, you'd want it to go to some other idea that's very similar. So people who are submitting similar ideas would have to be basically honest and, put an ID number of another idea that's very similar to their own, just so votes don't get thrown out, just so people don't end up wasting their vote on, like I said, duplicate ideas. So anyway, I think the system could really work. I think it would encourage people to go to the polls, because there'd always be something to vote for. There'd always be something to say. And I think it would be very cathartic, or whatever the right word is, for people to have this little bit of power, this little bit of ability to shove something in the face of the stuff they are really opposed to, and this ability to support the things they support. I mean, it just gives people some sense of power and control, and it's a win-win-win. And like I say, we also encourage people to take more of interest in elections. They're going to, just by necessity, just by the practical matter, if they're interested in these issues, they're going to end up being more aware of who's running and what they stand for. It's just going to make everybody a more informed participant in this democracy. I mean, it's just going to make we the people stronger, and I just don't see any downside to it. Just none. I mean, what is the downside? None of this stuff is binding. It just puts it out there. It just makes it an issue. It makes it important. And instead of the politicians deciding the agenda, we the people decide the agenda. And we might not have complete control, but we'll have real control.